So here we're making these micro catchments where the water can actually slow down and sink in. So we want to prevent the erosion, we want to take the water, we want to slow it down, and we want to push it into the soil. So some of these little catchment areas will have sticks in them and some won't, just totally random. Again, we're putting a bit of fertility in there and creating a space where the organisms can colonize into here. And as the rain comes and pushes it in, we can deeply nourish and remediate this area and help to grow the understory species temporarily for now, which is going to be oats and rye, clovers, vetch, field peas, a whole bunch of cover crops. So we take the BD compost and we're packing it in the trenches as well. So we're going to help push that all in there. We can even put, even do this across a landscape and place tree seeds in here as well. So we can throw the seeds out. We don't have the seeds right now, but when you get the seeds, you just broadcast them on in, and then you can come back over the top and scatter this on in there. We're working with the rain, so it's very wet right now, and there's going to continue to be slight rain and clouds for the next few days. So we're just catching the window. You really got to work with the rain on this one, especially when you don't have irrigation. But if you do have sprinklers, do it anytime. That's fine. But the main objective here is you want to create enough of these structures. So there's one here, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. Range of basins and kind of long micro swales. The thing is, you want enough of them, because if you don't have enough of them, then the velocity of the water is going to take them out. So you want to place them all over the place to catch every little bit of water. Start from the top and work your way down. And really slow that water down and push it in and help to grow everything else that's under here and speed everything up and remediate the soil. So that's what we're doing here today. This is the next wave of succession. We've got these little species coming in underneath and they're going to grow through, and then this one will then fall. And, so this one here is one of the next successions in this area. A lot of other little things, intermediary kind of things popping up, but this is the main species that's going to take over this area. This here is our second species. It's coming in. There's one here, another one dotted up there. You can see quite clearly here the root structure and how it's practically sitting in there, bolting itself to the side of the mountain, and it's holding up that soil. It's holding up that mountain just like this. There's just wedging a shoulder in here. So we can see that perfectly. We can already see the amount of soil that has been lost and the soil that is caught in the upper section. So this will be the longer term species that will take over from our acacia here. When the acacia feels like its job has been done, when its succession has stepped up and phased these guys out, this will plonk straight over and it will be covered in lantana. So that will then shade out the sun, create a very moist environment, at which then all this wood would break down, and once that job has been completed and these waves of succession have taken over, then that will shade out the lantana, and that will be the end of the story. And then it'll keep going on and on with all sorts of different species, and ultimately you'll have a nice thick old growth forest a few thousand years later. So here we've just found another stage of succession. We've got a fig. So our fig's popped in. Just going to pull this down, and our client just so happens to love figs, so it's going to pop up and it will pull this down on its own. So this is the next stage within all these other interactions that are happening. So by looking a little closer, we can catch these. We can see what's going on. So this is actually really good to see. This is the type of tree that we want in here ultimately. So we'll give a little liquid compost to it, hit it with a bit of CPP, do a spray of 501 up in the air, and we'll give it a really good boost. Why it's important to leave the wood on the ground, or why we need wood on the ground, is because this fungus actually colonizes into the wood and it eats it. it turns it into a bioavailable form of nutrients that the plant, pasture or soil can use for future production. And so they're really good at helping to bind the soil together with all their little threads, their mycelium threads. I'll see if we can get in there, but we can see the effect it's had on the wood. Very soft. It's broken it all down beautifully. And so that's pulling the carbon and pushing the carbon into the soil, which then that carbon can store and hold more water, and that water can infiltrate deep into the soil. So if we can have it up on these slopes and catch that water, store the water, push it into the soil, then everything down slope is going to benefit, your pastures especially. Carbon is the key.